So it's midweek action in the Premier League, the first of the season. Firstly, let's look at Tuesday's matches. Watford at home to the champions Manchester City. Well, City didn't take long to get started, although the first chance went to Watford, Pereira shooting just wide on 8 minutes. But a couple of minutes later, Sane down that left touchline got onto a pass, outran the defender one-on-one against Foster. He tried to chip it over Foster, and the Watford keeper saved the first of many. Another scare for Watford on 16 minutes. And then on 18 minutes, Foster, absolutely fantastic, saved 3 consecutive efforts from the City front line. He was almost a one-man defence keeping them out. He was there again on 30 to deny use. And then a rare chance for Watford with Deeney on 31. His shot was saved by Edison. Then on 39, a teasing cross from Mahrez, who was looking extremely good, found Sane running in again too fast for the defender, and he got his chest to it, and in it went. The relentless pressure had finally beat Foster, and City were 1 up. The match continued in the same vein, really, with City dominating possession into the second half. Mahrez got on the end of a Jesus cross, and he swept it in on 59 minutes. It took a slight defection, but anyway, that was 2-0 to City. They looked like they were coasting, but Watford, full of grit and determination, on 84 they scrambled a goal from Gray inside the 6-yard box after City had given the ball away on the right flank. The last 6 minutes were pretty frantic. Deeney had a chance, which Edison saved easily enough, and they held on City to win 2-1. To the London Stadium then. Cardiff were the visitors. It was their first visit in the top flight, and shortly after we got going, West Ham had their first chance on 15 minutes. Arnautovic tried to clip Etheridge, the Cardiff goalie, but to no avail. And Etheridge was there again to save from a header from a corner by Snodgrass. To 23 minutes then, Arnautovic into the box. He rounded a player, and his shot was cleared with the goalie beaten. First shot from Cardiff came on 29 minutes, pushed away by Fabianski. And then on 33 minutes, a slight push by Arnautovic in the box on Hoylett, and a soft penalty was given. Raul's shot was saved by Fabianski, and so we got to the break goalless. It had been pretty mediocre, really, on the eye. Second half, things got much more interesting. Lucas Perez was on for Arnautovic, and he responded with his first goal on 48 minutes to open the scoring for West Ham. It followed a poor clearance by the Cardiff defence. The shot hit the goalie, and it was 1-0. Perez doubled his tally on 54 with a left foot shot that went through Etheridge's legs. And then, on the hour, West Ham got their third, Antonio heading in from a Snodgrass corner. So all of a sudden the match was over, West Ham 3 up. Well, the rest of the match tapered to virtually nothing worthwhile reporting until the 94th minute, when Cardiff did get a late consolation. However, Pellegrini was delighted, and back to the drawing board again for Warnock. Okay, the last of the Tuesday's matches. Bournemouth at the Vitality Stadium at home to Huddersfield. Both teams in need of a win. No Munio, of course, he had that red card at the weekend. Early pressure from Bournemouth in 4 minutes, a free kick, and Wilson connects to head in. And so they were off to the perfect start. Bournemouth 1 up. They continued to be on the front foot, and King nearly made it 2 with a header just wide on 6 minutes. Then on 21 minutes, a breakaway goal by Bournemouth. Some lovely football. Wilson provided an exquisite cross right at the foot of Fraser, who was one-on-one with Lursel, and 2-0 Bournemouth. Great vision by Wilson. Okay, so into the 21st minute, first purposeful effort by the Terriers, and it was easily blocked by Ake, the defender. On 26 minutes, Laporta forced a great save out of Begovic, with Huddersfield much more in the game. And on 37 minutes, Moyes' centre was headed on, and we saw a collection of headers from Huddersfield before Nangolo connected, and it was in the back of the net. Huddersfield back in the match, 2-1. We got to the break then, and no further goals. The second half, Huddersfield certainly had the better of things, but few what I would call clear-cut chances. The game sort of fizzled out really, and the Cherries hung on for a fortunate win, I would say. Huddersfield deserved the point, but this is what it's like when you're down at the bottom. Okay, that's the Tuesday matches. So, Crystal Palace arrived at the Amex. Murray was back for Brighton. And the first 20 minutes you could have been forgiven for having a nap. But on 22 minutes, penalty for Brighton. MacArthur judged to have brought down Esquerela, and Murray delivered with a finish into the top corner. So that was 1-0 to Brighton. Then on about 28 minutes, there was another penalty case when Murray went down in the box. It wasn't given, went out for a corner, but there was an altercation following that between Duffy and the Crystal Palace defender, and Duffy decided to give him a headbutt, and so Friend then sent him off. So Brighton were down to 10 men, but it didn't seem to affect them, because from the free kick, Balogun connected with a right foot shot, and it was 2-0 Brighton. We got into injury time in the first half, and Palace were threatening, and then there was a breakaway with Andoni right out on the touchline. He managed to outpace Tompkins, who was on a yellow, and then as the goalkeeper came out, he gave himself a yard of space and slotted it in the corner, and it was 3-0 Brighton at the break. Sahar came on and Palace looked better, but it was far too much to pull back. They got a consolation on 78 minutes when Sahar was brought down in the box, and Miholovic did his usual job of converting the penalty. Too little, too late. Brighton, good value. 3-1 winners. A packed house at the Old Trafford for the clash between Man U and Arsenal. And yeah, it was a pretty exciting match, full of errors. Both coaches must have had a very stressful time, as both defences were lacking. On United's side, Rojo was in for Lindelof, Bailly was also in, and Mourinho was playing a back three, no Young or Shaw, and up front Lingard, Rashford and Martial. The Arsenal Ramsey in from the start, Lacazette on the bench, still no Ozil. So it started pretty slowly, really. The first real major incident was on 20 minutes, Arsenal on the attack. And then on 25 minutes, a free kick on the left was met by Mustafi, who headed the ball down. It bounced up viciously. De Gea made a right meal of it, tried to push it over the bar. All he managed to do was push it beyond the line. It was cleared frantically there by a defender, but technology indicated that it crossed the line. So Arsenal won up. United's response was almost immediate. Free kick on the left by Rocco, outside the area. Leno parries the ball. Herrera manages to get to it before it goes out of play. His cross is latched onto swiftly by Martial, and it's 1-1. Into the second half now. On 58, Rocho's shot was from outside the box, was dealt with by Leno. And then on 60 minutes, Rojo was caught in 61 minutes. Rojo caught in possession. The ball came loose. Rojo tried to recover. Lacazette was there. They both went for the ball. Not sure who got the final touch, but the ball trickled past De Gea, who again, I would suggest, made a poor judgment. So it was 2-1 to the Gunners. Once again, United responded even quicker. From the kick-off, the ball was kicked upfield by Rojo. Slack defending. Lingard managed to slip in between the defenders and hit the ball past Leno, and we were back all square. After that, Arsenal had the better chances to win. 74 minutes, Aubameyang's shot brought a great save from De Gea. And in added time, there was a lot of pressure from Arsenal. The ball ricocheted to Mkhitaryan, and he was actually on the goal line, adjacent to the goal, and he hit the ball in, but was deemed offside. So it ended 2-2. So to Turf Moor, Burnley entertaining Liverpool. Lots of changes rung by Klopp. No Salah, Mane or Firmino. Salah and Firmino on the bench, and Mane rested. Henderson and Milner were in midfield for Liverpool. Henderson back from suspension. But it was Burnley who started well. A couple of early half chances for them. First chance for Liverpool on 28, Van Dijk, a header from a corner, easily saved by Hart, but this began yet another tremendous performance by the former England number one. I can't understand why he is not still the number one. He surpasses Pickford every time I see him. On 35 minutes, a clearance to Bardsley, and he whizzed a rocket of a shot just wide of Alisson's post. And then on 40 minutes, Barnes hit a volley which went in, but he was ruled to be offside. So 0-0 at the break. Early stages of the second half, a snapshot from Sturridge forced a fine save again from Hart, and then an even better one on 51 from Sally Keita was pushed aside by Hart. As I say, tremendous work by the keeper. On 53 minutes, a save from Alisson, but he failed to push out the header to safety, and it was poor defending as Cook prodded it in. So Burnley won up. But 61 minutes, some intricate passing around the penalty box, and Milner strike finds the corner just out of Hart's reach on this occasion. So we were back level 1-1. Liverpool then took charge. Arnold came on as a sub, as did Firmino. And a cross from Arnold from a free kick. Van Dijk up for the free kick, stretched out a leg and put the ball on a plate to Firmino, and he put it in 3 yards out. And so it was 2-1 to Liverpool. Pretty poor defender once again by Dyche's Burnley. From there on, Liverpool had control of the match. Few chances for Burnley. On 81 minutes, some desperate defending and saves from Hart kept out the Liverpool attack. And then on 91 minutes, after Alisson pushed away a header, there was a break and Shaqiri latched onto a through pass, and with his left foot he slid in the third goal. Thankful to Surridge and Salah for very good work, and Liverpool had rounded off the evening with a comfortable 3-1, although it was hardly comfortable for the first hour. So that was it. Liverpool 3-1 winners. To Goodison Park then, and Everton against Newcastle. And Newcastle looked pretty good in the early stages, and on 18 minutes, a cross from the left was met by Rondon, and he smashed the ball home, and so the Magpies went in 1-0. Everton were dominating the match, however, and finally from a corner on 37 minutes, a bit of a mess in the 6-yard box, but Richarlison gobbled up the chance, and it was 1-1. Second half, Everton, well, they dominated proceedings. In total, they had 19 shots on goal, but Tozan and Sigurdsson missed the best of them, and the match ended 1-1. So to Molineux. Chelsea were the visitors. Neves was suspended. Gibbs-White was in from the start. And Christensen was in Chelsea's back four, first appearance this season. Willian and Morata were up front with Hazard. Early on, all Chelsea. Early chance for Hazard. Easily saved by Patricio. On 16 minutes, Chelsea dominating possession. And then from outside the box, Loftus-Cheek strike. It has a wicked deflection off Connor Cody's head. He's the Wolves captain, if you don't know. And goalkeeper, no chance, 1-0 Chelsea. After that, continued pressure from Chelsea, 22 minutes. A free kick from Willian forced a great save from Patricio. And on 38 minutes, Willian again was followed by a late tackle, only yards out, which would surely have been 2-0. So at the half, just a solitary 1-0 for Chelsea. Into the second half, and Chelsea once again having a great opportunity when the defenders thwarted Morata just inches from the goal line. If he'd connected, it would have been a certain goal. And then, all of a sudden, out of the blue on 58, Jimenez latches onto a spirited run by Gibbs-White and hits the ball through Kepa's legs, 1-1. A few minutes later, Molineux explodes. Chelsea give up possession about 25 years out. Willian complains bitterly that it's a foul. The referee says play on. Neat passing out to the right. Doherty running onto the ball, hits a fantastic ball across goal, and Jotto's there to finish it off. Wolves in front 2-1. That's the highlights that I saw, and amazingly, Wolves win this one 2-1. So to Wembley, Spurs entertaining Southampton. And could they bounce back after their humiliation of losing the North London derby a few days ago? Well, their back four was changed. Trippier returning from injury, Alderweireld and Rose were in. Ali was on the bench and Mora joined Kane and Son up front. Southampton, first game without Mark Hughes, who was sacked the day before. What could they do? Gabbiadini up front. Well, first half highlights. Within 2 minutes, they were on the back foot. Son hit a tremendous volley onto a post. And then 6 minutes later, Kane latched on to some good work from Eriksson from the left. And from a few yards out, there's no one better than Kane, and it was 1-0. 24 minutes, a chance for Southampton. Hodgberg hit a tremendous strike from 30 yards onto a post. It looked like Lloris got a faint touch, and the follow-up from Armstrong was hit wide. Okay, Spurs very much in charge, and they continued to pummel the Saints' goal, but it remained 1-0 at half-time. Into the second half, 50 minutes, Eriksson, a free kick, forced a great save from McCarthy, and following the corner, Amura at the second attempt rifled the ball home to make it 2-0 for Spurs. On 54 minutes, Kane, a quick pinpoint cross, and Son had made it 3 inside the 6-yard box. Son is getting almost as good as Kane. Saints very poor defending, losing the ball out on the left. So it was 3-0, game over really. Southampton did come into the game after that. They had a couple of half chances, and the best of them for Davies, but he decided to cross the ball to Ward-Prowse and the chance was lost. Finally, in added time, Southampton got their consolation. A breakaway, ball over the top. Austin, who looked offside, ran on and put the ball past Lloris. Consolation goal for Southampton, 3-1 to Spurs. The new manager of the Saints has got a huge job here. Spurs back to winning ways. Pochettino delighted. Last match of this midweek fixtures, and Leicester went to Fulham. A very emotional experience for Ranieri against his old club. And it was a good match on the eye. Schuler was back on the bench for Fulham. Vardy wasn't playing. He had a groin strain. So Iheanacho was leading the line for the Foxes. And on 2 minutes, an early chance for Iheanacho. A great save from Rico. And forward to 19 minutes. This was the first chance really for Fulham. Chambers forced a great save from Schmeichel. Both keepers performed very well throughout in this match. Brighton had a half chance that was pushed over on 21 minutes, and Morgan headed over on 28. Mitrovic went wide on 33 from a corner, so as you can get a feel to this, there were lots of half chances around. Another fine stop from Rico on 39. And finally, we got a goal on 41. Fulham. Kamara played in by Mitrovic. He outwits the defender and his shot goes through the legs of Schmeichel. So Fulham in front at the break, 1-0. Into the second half, and Kearney had a great chance to make it 2 for Fulham, just wide on 70. But then 75 minutes, Okazaki, who was on as a substitute, created a yard of space, pinpoint cross to Maddison, who was on the penalty spot area, and unmarked, he passes the ball into the net. So it was 1-1. There was some frantic efforts in stoppage time. Gray's shot saved by Rico, and Madison's follow-up put round the post by the Fulham keeper. But it ended 1-1, and that was about right. So that's the midweek matches. How does that leave the table? Well, Man City still on top with 41 points. 2 points ahead of Liverpool on 39. Tottenham are back up to third on 33, with Chelsea and Arsenal on 31. Man United, my team, back in 8th on 23. At the bottom, much the same. Southampton, Burnley and Fulham all on 9 points. My goal of the week, of this round, I'm going to go for the Wolves winner against Chelsea, because of how important it was and what a sweeping move, and of course the reaction in the ground. Simply terrific.